I spoke with a Republican House member the other day, and I said,
"You did that?
I know. We talked. We do. I try to. It's been tough since Trump was elected. He brought up impeachment with me, and I asked what he thought about Cory Gardner, and this guy said to me, "It's like just so demoralizing." He said, "Well, you got to go with the base first." And it's just like, what about going with the right thing first?
Yeah, right.
What a concept. They're afraid of what that looks like. They think that looks like Donald Trump tweeting dipshit Trump Jr. retweeting, and now all of a sudden you have, just this cavalry, coming at you from the Trump supporters.
Do your Republican colleagues just dread a notification?
In the first year, yes. The Republicans I've seen, they're just now blindly following it. They see the writing on the wall that, he's probably going down in 2020. In some armies, in some countries, when you're in the rear guard and you're going to lose, you just throw the rules out the window and you just figure well, we're going down, so we might as well just, take, pillage, plunder, everything. That's the mindset of so many of them, is they just think that Trump has taken them down. I still think there is reward in this country, and for yourself, most importantly, for just doing the right thing. And we don't have enough people doing that. During the Russian investigation, I went privately to a lot of Republican friends I had. This is right after Donald Trump's elected. And I told them, we should have an independent commission to look at what Russia did. It's just too toxic in Washington. It's just red jerseys versus blue jerseys. Let's put this in the hands of experts to look at what they did and hopefully not let them do it again. And a lot of my Republican friends told me, I agree with you, what they did was bad. And one woman on the Intelligence Committee said to me, the problem, though, is that when he tweets, he wins. And they're just telling me their job is more important than anything else, which is frustrating because you would think, if you're in Congress, maybe this is not the only job you could get. Maybe there's other things that you could do.
Right.
But that's been the most frustrating thing to me. There are so many enablers who are letting it go his way. All it would take would be 4 Republican senators to say, you know what? We probably should have witnesses and evidence and documents, and maybe even let the senators ask questions at this trial. But no one, not one Republican voted against Mitch McConnell yesterday, and that's pretty disturbing. He's going to do all he can to protect the president and protect himself. And that's what, for me, has been so frustrating, is that throughout this whole process, I think we've shown overwhelmingly that the president used his office, asked a foreign government to help him cheat an election, put his own interest above the national interest, and no Republican has been willing to stand up against him. And I think it's mostly because they don't want to lose their job. Again, you should be skeptical of someone like Lev Parnas. I mean, actually, after all, he was, in their gang. He was a part of that crew. But when what he's saying has been corroborated by the documents that we have, which aren't going to lie, and again, there's just, parts of his story that you just close your eyes and you listen to it and you're like, that sounds like he's telling the truth. And when Parnas was talking about being frog marched out of his house by the FBI in the dead of the morning, and he's being walked past this shrine he has in his house to Donald Trump, and his wife's looking at him we've given all this money to this guy and his police are arresting you. And Parnas said how humiliating that was. To me, it was like, this guy, he's come forward because of pride. He gave a lot of money to Trump. He went to every party. He's apparently in every picture Donald Trump has ever taken, Lev Parnas is hey.
I think I have pictures of Lev Parnas somewhere. Well, you ran for president, primarily on a platform of gun reform. It was for a cup of coffee.
Thank you for remembering it.
Of course. What do that president comes to you and says, Congressman Swalwell, help me. What do I do in my first 100 days to make Americans safer? What do you tell them?
Do something on gun violence. And I think that issue, sadly, only gets action and attention after tragedies. And then, of course, what you're up against is, a side on the Republican side saying, well, when the tragedies happen, now's not the time. Or you're using this, for your agenda. And when you have a mass shooting every day, that's really to their benefit, because then you can never take action. But my hope with the 2-year-old and the 1-year-old is that when my kids are in high school, that they're not doing those drills. That they will actually... that I want this question from my son, her daughter. I want them to ask me as teenagers, Dad, did kids really have to duck under their desks for drills around guns? How did that, what was that like? Because I want it to be so foreign
really
to
powerful
them.
To think about.
And so that if I do my job and the next president does their job, I think that'll be my children's reality, something they won't have to live with.